ahead. I'm ready to get started. Are you guys ready to get started? I hope so. Yay, I see some thumbs up, some hands raising, right on. Okay, so right now, so many of us are experiencing a lot of different kinds of crazy that we would have never thought we were going to be experiencing. And I'm just wondering, how many of you, whether it's right now or even in the past, how many of you ever struggled with maybe your business or getting it started, or maybe professional things, maybe your health, finances, that kind of stuff? If you have ever struggled, I get you. I have been where you have been in all of those areas. I really have. And I'm telling you, I had to take a deep dive for myself, and I discovered that I actually have everything I need inside me to be successful. So one day, about 5 years ago, I was driving home very slowly, pulled up into my driveway, and I was just numb. I will never forget that day as long as I live. I sat in my driveway just feeling absolutely numb. I had left an extremely toxic environment, a toxic relationship, if you will. It was actually with a job. And it was a job that was killing me both physically and mentally. And you know what? Because I was the type of person, and maybe you can relate to this, maybe not, I was the type of person who really never acknowledged my own successes, my own accomplishments, right? That instead of seeing the victory in leaving something that was so toxic, instead, you know what I did? I started beating myself up for it, and I considered it a humongous failure. And because of that, I actually took this awful spiral into, probably, for me, was the most depressing time of my life. Now, was I clinically depressed? I don't know. I was never diagnosed. So, you know, that's not to take away from anybody who's ever been through that. But I'm telling you, I hit rock bottom. And I was in just this major funk, a major funk. And for me, it was like I was trudging through quicksand. If any of you have ever felt like that before, like just like in a major funk and just like, oh my gosh, I don't even know which way is up. I mean, go for it. Drop it in the chat. This is a no judgment zone. You can be like, yep, me, I've been there. It was with this or with that or whatnot. Go ahead. That's fine. We're here for you. We're here to support you. And I'm going to tell you that when it happened to me, this is going to sound funny, I cried. And I cried for days. Now, the reason why that is kind of funny is because I live in a home full of men, all right? And they're not big criers, okay? And I was raised by a weekend cowboy. We just didn't cry. We just weren't big criers. Nothing against crying. I just am not a big crier, unless it's a really sappy movie or something that happens to one of my pets. Then all bets are off, right? I'm just not that way. But boy, I'll tell you, I cried, and I cried hard, and I cried for days. And I was just in that funk. And one morning, I was kind of trudging through the kitchen, and one of my sons was on a rare visit home. And he's like, he knew things had hit the fan, right? And he's just like, hey, Mom, how's it going? And I just kind of shrugged my shoulders. It was just like, yeah, you know what I mean, right? Just, whatever. I think I was trying to get a cup of coffee or something. And he's just like, why are you doing this to yourself? Why are you doing this to yourself? Why are you beating yourself up? I mean, why are you so hard on yourself all the time, Mom? Why are you doing this? He's like, what would you do if this happened to one of your friends? What would you do if this happened to somebody in our family? And then he grabbed me by my shoulders, and he just looked down at me, and his eyes were just piercing into mine. He was holding me with his gaze, and he wasn't going to let go. And he said the words I will never forget. What would you do if it happened to me? And that was my wake up right there. What would you do if it happened to me? I mean, it's one thing to happen to me, but happens to somebody else? Happens to one of my kids? Oh, no, 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 right? And as I started to let his words sink into my head, and I started thinking, well, what would I do? What would I do? I remembered I'm a woo girl, okay? A woo girl. And I know that sounds fun and all that, and it is, but it stands for women helping others own it. And guess what? Guys out there, you can be woo girls too. We just call you moos, men helping others own it. So it's okay. You can still be a guy and still be a woo girl. And you know, what it was is I realized, I was kind of snapped into reality that here's my child trying to counsel me when it should be the other way around. I should be his role model and I should be doing things for him, not him doing this for me, right? And as I was remembering the things I would do for others, it was like, well, yeah, well, I would encourage them and I wouldn't let them be down on themselves, and I'd let them see the victory in what they had just done and how great it was that they got out of a toxic situation. And I would be helping them to take a look at their talents and what would their goals be. And I would be cheering them on and I would be encouraging them, because I'm a woo girl from everybody else, but I hadn't been a woo girl for myself. How many of you can relate to that? How many of you, right? How many of you can relate to the oxygen mask syndrome? You know what I mean? Where you put everybody else's oxygen mask on them first and you forget to do it for yourself, right? That's not good. Remember, we're supposed to put it on ourselves first, because then when we help ourselves, we can help others. But you know what? I had gone for so long never putting the oxygen mask on myself that I was being swallowed up in the quicksand, right? Yeah, and now I realized I needed to be a woo girl for myself first and foremost. And you know, all it comes down to is that encouragement is essential, all right? Encouragement is essential. And I want you to know that as of that moment, and I could tell you when all this happened, it was October 9th of 2015. I'm never gonna forget that, okay? And after that moment, when I decided to be a woo girl for myself, I ended up not only writing the book I swore I would always write someday. I have written and published 5 books. One has gone to #1. Yay! I resurrected my PR and marketing business, and on top of that, I started a vacation rental business. I became an instructor for a nearby college and a marketing mentor coach. I became a keynote speaker, and not only did I buy my dream home, I bought my dream vacation home. That's right. And I leveled up. I leveled up. When I went back to work, I guess I didn't tell you this, I had been a site administrator. Okay, I've been a teacher for a long time, then I was a site administrator, and that's the job I left. But it had always been my aspiration to be a district administrator. But I thought, oh, I'll do that someday down the road. But when I decided to become a woo girl for myself, guess what? When I went back to work, I leveled up and I became a district administrator. So take that, toxic workplace, right? So you can do this. I'm telling you, I was able to do that. And it was even during a time when my own husband lost his job. He had been laid off after 18 years of service. He had been laid off, and it was all on me. And you know what? We made it because I remembered that I'm a woo girl, and I started becoming a woo girl for myself. It's a big deal. So I am here to tell you that if you have ever been down, if you've ever been out, and you've ever been in a situation where you do not know which way is up, I am living proof. I am living proof that you can come out the other side successfully. You can, but you gotta become a woo girl. Now, I'm never gonna forget the day I actually realized I was a woo girl, and it actually happened in June of 1988. I was at my sister-in-law's high school graduation. And it was weird because we were in the stands and people were doing this polite applause for each student that was getting their diploma. And when they called her name, I stood up and I'm like, woo, you go girl, yeah, right on, woo. And it was the weirdest thing. This is when I discovered that I really like to encourage others, and not everybody is like this. Because it was like every head in the stadium just turned and looked at me, kind of like one of those movie things where it's just like, you know, like everybody all in unison. And they were like looking at me like, what are you doing? I'm like, hey, I am cheering her on. That is a great accomplishment. What, right on. And I was like, wow, why aren't you? You know? So I remember that. And it's important because, like I mentioned, encouragement is essential. And when we encourage others, we help them to succeed. You help yourself to succeed, but you help yourself to succeed. I mean, you help yourself to succeed, but you help others to succeed as well. So what happens is when we get too comfortable and we put ourselves on comfort zone island, and if we don't have these encouragements going on, we stay there because comfort zone is very comfortable, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be successful. You've got to have that encouragement to move forward, to get off that island. Because if you think about it, if you just stay within that zone, where are you going to go, right? Where are you going to go? You need to think about how to get off that island. Because sometimes people will allow themselves to have some successes, a little bit, just a little bit, but they keep themselves in that comfort zone. And everything else is someday. So it's like someday is like this land far away, and you know, it's too much of an effort to get there, so they never get there. And that's not good, right? How many of you have ever feared failure? I know I have. So I don't know about you, but please, again, no judgment zone. Pop it in the chat, you know, feel free to let us know. And you know, it's scary when you think about, okay, I'm going to do this and I may fail, right? But somebody wise, and I hope you catch this thread throughout the day today, reminded me that there's no such thing as failure, only learning. No such thing as failure, only learning. That's huge. Write that down. That's a big one. You're never failing. You're just learning, right? Because you're trying. And how many of you have ever feared succeeding, like wildly succeeding? That can be scary because sometimes, you know, you think, oh, if I succeed too much, maybe I can't handle it. Or maybe people won't like you, right? Sometimes it's a matter of, sometimes maybe you are afraid that people might not love you anymore because you're so successful. And I get you. I get you. I mean, I've designed my whole program. I help my clients get through this. And the way we do it is we do this by rallying our relationships. We take a look at the different relationships that people have in their lives and how to build these encouragement teams. And it's important that in order to do that, we have to remember for ourselves that we have to try. We have to be able to try so that we can get out of our comfort zone. I always say it's better to be a trier than a liar. Because really, if you're trying, at least you're getting off comfort zone island in some way, shape, or form, right? You're moving towards success. You're staying in action. But if you are lying, you know what? You're just lying to yourself. You're only lying to yourself if you are saying, oh, someday. I'll do that someday. Maybe I'll get around to it someday. That's a big lie you're telling yourself. Stop lying to yourself right now. Make it your mission today to stop lying to yourself. Make a step towards trying. Go forward. Start reaching your dreams, okay? Set goals and start going for your goals. Try, and it's okay. You may stumble here and there, but that's all right because there's no such thing as failure, only learning. So try, don't lie. Now, sometimes people will ask me about, you know, the whole woo girl thing, and they're wondering, okay, well, how do we do that? Well, you do need to start with becoming a woo girl first. Now, remember, a woo girl is women helping others own it, or men helping others own it, right? I've already shared that men are woo girls too. And when you do this, you start off by, like I mentioned, rallying your relationships, okay? And you build that encouragement team, but it has to be the right team, okay? And the right team isn't necessarily all your best friends or your family members, okay? There are different people in your lives that mean well, but they're not necessarily part of your encouragement team. Now, we've got our woo girls, and you're learning a little bit about how to become one of those, right? But there are these other people in your lives too. For example, the naysayers. How many of you have a naysayer in your life? Maybe show of hands. How many? Oh, I see you. I see you. Okay, yeah, I know. Me too. All right. Now, guess what? I'm going to be brutally honest. Sometimes I'm the naysayer. Yeah, sometimes I'm the naysayer. And I'm the naysayer sometimes when I go into mom mode. All right? I know it's hard to admit that because I want to be a woo girl all the time, but sometimes I do this as well, and I have to snap myself out of it. Now, what do I mean by this? Okay, there are some people in your lives that when you do share your hopes and your dreams, your goals and so forth, they will put them down. And they will be like, oh, I don't know if you should do that. They kind of poo-poo your dreams, right? And that is so deflating. And you know why they do that? Because they love you. And they want to protect you. They will do anything they can to keep you from hurting, because if you fail, you might hurt, right? And they'll do anything to keep you from hurting. That's just what they do, okay? But here's the reality of that. When a naysayer does that, because they're trying to protect you, they're actually hurting you because they're keeping you on comfort zone island. That's not good, right? Remember, if we can't get off comfort zone island, we're never going to reach the success that we're seeking, okay? And I do think that sometimes causes this internal frustration, right? But there are ways to work with naysayers. And I actually teach people how to do this so that it's not like you're gonna completely axe them out of your life or anything like that. You're just going to approach them differently when you are sharing your goals and dreams. So that's something I teach clients so that they can keep these people in their lives. And sometimes, not always, not 100%, but sometimes they're actually able to convert naysayers over to being woo girls, okay? Being part of their encouragement team. This is a great thing. We like that, right? We want that if at all possible. Now, I'm here to tell you that doesn't always happen. You just have to be cognizant of it. And you need to know when to approach those naysayers and how to approach those naysayers. Now, being completely honest, you know, here I am, woo girl, right? But at the same time, when I do snap into mom mode, and I do still, even still today, I mean, well, maybe it hasn't happened yet today, but it could. Day's not over yet. But when I do, we have a signal, okay? So, and it's usually with my children, right? And they simply need to say, hey, wait a minute, I need a woo girl right now. You're in mom mode. You're in mom mode. Let's back up. But that also, not only does it trigger for me to listen to them differently, it helps them remember that they need to present what it is to me differently so I don't go into protection mode. Instead, I can be encouragement, you know, their encouragement team. I want to be part of their encouragement team. But they have to give me a little warning sometimes. Well, that's what we need to do with those people in our lives as well. So just kind of wrap your brain around that, because there are ways to work with those people and get the encouragement you need many times. Again, not 100%, but many times you can convert them. Then we have this third group in our life, the resenters. These are tough ones, right? These are the people that resent you for being successful. These are the ones that cause you to feel like nervous about becoming successful because somebody might not like you or somebody may not love you. How many of you have somebody like that in your life? Sadly, I do. I have somebody in my life that actually withholds love when I'm successful. And I learned when all this happened, when I learned to be a woo girl for myself, I learned that that was probably the reason that for all these years, and I'm pretty old, so it's been a long time, right? For all these years, I would never really embrace my achievements, my successes. I didn't allow myself to. And it was because I think if I was to do that, then that would mean that that person may keep pushing me away, keep pushing me away. You know, my accomplishments were not that person's problem. The issue is not me. The issue is that person has an issue with themselves, but they're taking it out on the other person, okay? So it wasn't me that person really truly resented or resents, right? That person resents themselves. Are you picking up what I'm throwing down there? What I mean by that is they are resenting that they have kept themselves on their own comfort island and they've never gone for what their dreams were, okay? And if you're successful, you're a constant reminder to them that they never got off their butt and did what they said that they would do someday. They stay stuck in Sunday all the time, and your successes remind them of that. Guess what? I am here to tell you, just like I tell my clients, that is not your problem. That is their problem. They need to deal with that themselves. And you need to embrace your successes, because let me tell you, boy, once I started doing that, it was like a snowball effect. I not only started attaining success, but I kept seeing that I was attaining more and more and more. It's just amazing, because you're just suddenly surrounded by it and you can't help but go. You've got that momentum, and that's what you need to get, right? Regardless of if it's about a business, or maybe you're wanting to be in career transition, and a lot of people are in that right now, right? Maybe it's something personal you want to do. Maybe it's weight loss, or you want to get your finances under control. I don't know, whatever it is for you, you need to work towards it and allow that momentum to build. And I do teach people how to deal with the resenters in their life. And it's not always easy, but I help walk them through, because that's an important roadblock that they need to get past. Because remember, like I just told you, it is not you. You are not the problem. They are the problem. They are their own problem. Why? Because they're not trying, they're lying. And again, they're staying in someday. They're never getting past someday I'll do it. So again, being a constant reminder of that. That's why they do that. So again, once you rally your relationships, you are able to start just crushing your goals. And I just know with experience from what I've witnessed with clients and others, friends and family members, that boy, once you have that encouragement team situated, boy, you have the foundation for conquering anything and everything you put your mind to. And that's a big deal, because a lot of people go at goal setting with starting off at the why, and that's really important. You need to know your why, but even before the why, you need to build this foundation, and it starts with you doing it for yourself, okay? So remember, you do this for yourself, and then you can start building that team, and then you just start conquering the world. So how does this work? You're probably like, well, okay, but you know, how does this woo girl thing work? I get that a lot. So when I try to tell people about the woo girl philosophy, they're like, well, okay, but how does this work? Well, it's actually scientific. Here's why it works, okay? So when we woo somebody, when we encourage somebody, we get this really great release of endorphins, right? It feels good. That is why so many people love to go to concerts and sporting events and everything. Try it right now, you know, just woo! You can either do it loud or you can just mouth it. Woo! Can you feel it? It comes from your chest, okay? And it feels good, right? Let's do 3. Woo! 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 Oh my gosh, I've got so many endorphins released right now. It feels great, right? Think about it. Every time you woo from now on, you're gonna remember this. It feels great. And it just releases all those feel-good hormones, and we love it. And when that happens, it hits those reward centers of the brain, and the reward centers say, hey, I like that. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. So here's how it works. What you do is you start looking for ways to help others, to help encourage others, okay? And when you do that, and you start doing that, and you're able to build these encouragement teams, then you start seeking, or you actually start attaining even more success. Actually, this is really scientific. Did you know that people who build encouragement teams, actually, they have 65% actually attain their goals and 95% attain greater success? Hello, who wants that? I do, I do, I do, I do. Pop it in the chat. I do. I want to see a big I do. I want success. And if you can have that by just building the right people around you to encourage you, how easy is that, right? Yeah, and you know what? It only takes one person on your team. Just one person. You don't have to have an army. If you do, great, good for you. But just having one person on your encouragement team is all you really need, and you can do this. It's really great. So, I mean, my clients that come to me are just absolutely committed for a big change, okay? And when they do that, I am also committed to them to help them with any changes that they want so that they can be successful. And I support them in any way I possibly can. And so what we do is we start with the 3 S's, okay? So first of all, you've already started being good to yourself, right? And starting to woo yourself on. But what we do is we seek others to encourage. I kind of touched on this just a little bit a little while ago. So we're seeking out people. And what we want to do is we want to encourage them, or we want to congratulate them. And it can be, well, right now it's a little hard to do this in person. But, you know, if you know somebody who's doing something great or has just done something, you can reach out to them and woo them on, right? And say, hey, woo, right on, good for you, congratulations. Or, oh, you've got that interview coming up, you've got this, you've got that. You know, just find ways to do it. And you know what? If you're a little bit shy about doing this at first, do it on social media. It's the perfect place to do it. Just go for it. Make sure you put a hashtag woo in there, okay? That way everybody knows you're wooing them on. But do that, and then what you do is you just keep finding another person and another person and another person. And at first, it can feel a little weird if you're not used to doing this, if this is just not who you've been. But watch yourself. Try for 3 people a day. And before you know it, you're going to be constantly seeking people to encourage and congratulate, okay? You're boosting them on. And you know what happens? Is then that shifts the mind. It does. Again, I told you, being a woo girl is all scientific. It's not all fun and games, but it is fun and it's great. So what happens is it shifts your mindset. And now your mind is seeking success, right? Your mind is constantly seeking success. And when we do that, we seek out oftentimes like-minded people, okay? When we are looking to congratulate people and encourage people, oftentimes they are similar to us. And when we are seeking successful people, then we start to sync synergy with those successful people. Say that 3 times real fast. So when we do that, we find these other people and our mind is just shifting towards success. You get what I'm saying? It's a big deal, right? So we are looking for those successful people. Then once we find it, and really, it'll be amazing when you do this. I encourage you to start today, because when you start to do this, it's amazing how quickly it just becomes you naturally. If you've ever been like, well, I don't know, that's just not me, and you start doing this, you'll be amazed at how quickly the mind will shift. And you will be doing this on your own naturally. It will just become who you are. And when you are doing that, then you know you are really a woo girl or a woo guy. So that's the first of the S's, is seeking. And when you know that, when you notice that you are doing this naturally, then suddenly you're surrounding yourself with those successful people. So we move on to that second one. You will just naturally be gravitating to these people. You can't help it, because all of a sudden, that's what your mind is constantly thinking about. Your mind is all about success at that point, right? It's not like other people are out of your life. They're still there, but you can't help but think about success. And wow, there's my friend that did that. Woo! There's my family member who did that. Woo! There's my colleague who did that. Woo! Right on. And you're just going to keep doing that. And you know what? that causes you to be more successful. So once you seek and you surround, then you're ready to support, okay? Because not only is it that you are supporting others, but you're ready, you know the right people to surround yourself with for support. That's your encouragement team. And again, it may just be one person, and that's okay. You've got the right person to encourage you on, because I'm telling you, encouragement is everything. It's just essential. And you know, it's just one of those things that once you start to do it, you're going to have so many ahas. When I finally allowed myself to become my own woo girl first, put on that oxygen mask and start embracing my accomplishments and realizing, oh wow, actually I've got this. I got this. I have the tools. I've got that. And then I was able to surround myself with the right people. There was no stopping me anymore. And the people that I counsel on this all the time, there's no stopping them. They've got this. They're crushing it. They are crushing it. So encouragement is essential. So right now, I want to know if you have any aha moments. What's something that you learned from this today? Go ahead and pop it into the chat. That would be great. What were your aha moments? Just go ahead and pop them in. What's something that maybe you kind of knew it already? It was like, yeah, you know it. But now it's like, okay, somebody else just said what I've been thinking anyway. Go ahead, pop it in. Pop it into the chats. We want to know. Okay? So go ahead and pop it in there. I'm going to be taking a look at those in just a few moments. And right now, I'm going to share with you that I'm actually offering free one-to-one Go for the Goal discovery sessions, all right? And you are all welcome. You're invited. These are invite only. I opened up a bunch of sessions between now and April 30th, I think. Yeah, by April 30th is the last day. Go ahead and go to this registration link I have right here. I have to move a little bit right here. There we go. The bit.ly/DRC free goal. Okay, go straight to that page and make a free consultation with me right now. During this consultation, we're going to just talk about your biggest challenge, and we're going to talk about a plan for success for you, regardless of what it is. It could be personal. It could be professional. Maybe you're going through a career transition, or maybe you were starting a new business and all the COVID stuff happened, and now you're like, I don't know what to do. Or maybe you have a business and you don't know how to market it right now with all the fluctuating times. I've worked with a lot of people in the last couple of weeks who have been asking me about what can I do to help my business with a virtual component. If that's you, I'm okay with that too. So any of these things that you are struggling with, please contact me. It's a free consultation and I will help you with that, okay? All right, oops, I just turned the page on you, didn't I? All right, so we'll keep that up there. All right, so while that's up there, I actually want to go back and finish the story that I started to tell you earlier. And it was the one about my sister-in-law. So just real quick, I'm just going to wrap up and then we're going to go into our next speaker. So when we got back to the house after the graduation ceremony that I was chatting about, well, I finally got a moment to be alone with her. And, you know, we kind of locked arms and I'm like, oh, I'm so excited for you. And she's like, yeah, I'm so excited too. Da, da, da. And all of a sudden she kind of looked at me and she's like, you know, I heard you up in the stands. And I'm telling you, when she did that, I was kind of like, oh no, is she going to be one of those people that were like, oh, what are you doing? Why are you encouraging her? But instead, you know what she did? She just said to me, she's like, and you know what? It felt totally awesome. I just want to remind you guys, encouragement is essential. When we encourage people, they can move on to the greatest successes. So never be afraid to encourage people. That might be the one thing that they needed to hear that day from you, from anybody, whatever it takes to help them to achieve their successes. So never be afraid to encourage people and make sure you encourage yourself too first. All right, everybody? I'm so excited. We have Iselin and Nanio coming up next. And before we do, I want to